Mr. Speaker. Again, it's a privilege to be speaking on this bill, and I wanted to repeat what I said in the first reading, that it was only this morning that a prominent disability spokesman said that the sector will be relieved that a resolution has at last been agreed on. Mr. Speaker, this undoubtedly is a fair, pragmatic and compassionate resolution to a long-standing and challenging and complex situation. Mr. Speaker, it is indeed a little rich to hear the Honourable Ruth Dyson go on about consultation, because we heard both her and Annette King this morning saying that they wanted and they offered cross-party consultation. But really, they are indeed saying this far too late, given the context to their own response to the human rights ruling back in 2001. The fact is, they didn't respond. The fact is that in 2005, they explicitly said, and this was Annette King and her fellow cabinet ministers stated there would be no consultation with other parties. This was supported by the Greens. This was supported by the Greens. And then again, in 2008, the Labour government expressly decided not to pay carers. Again, a government propped up by the Greens. Well, I thought you would be better than... I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, I thought the member would be better than this. And indeed, there has been a veil of silence from the Labour-Green coalition regarding this for regarding consultation, is what I'm talking about, until suddenly they find themselves in opposition and then they start saying, hey, look, that's what we really wish. Mr. Speaker, I was interested to hear Annette King say that let's look at history, because over these 2 decades we've deinstitutionalised the places where disabled people were left, often left to wallow and not be cared for properly. And we've always agreed with that, and indeed some of those packages that have been replaced are very, very reasonable ones, although of course there will always be the requirement before. And in that consultation process that the national government went through last year, which was a wide consultation process, I think there were something like 264 submitters, and there were something like 12 meetings around the country, there were examples of the sort of packages that were available for people through the system in New Zealand, and often it's not realised. One of the classic examples was one of an adult who had a rare progressive neurological disorder and used a powered wheelchair, living out in the country with her parents. The support package is $106,000 per year, together with a total additional funding of $43,000. Now, that may not be as much as her parents would have liked, but it is a realistic package given the amount of money and resourcing that we have in New Zealand. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to end up by saying the government is indeed balancing the interests of those being cared for, their families and the taxpayers.
The Honourable Annette King.
Thank you, Mr.